Good afternoon.
How are you, Mark?
I'm real good. How's the meeting going today?
Good. We had a couple people had to leave who were here in person and some virtual. So I'm going to record you so I can, and I will send it out to the rest of the group. But we're real interested in learning how do you search on Vistage and how do you use all the Vistage online features? And so I'll turn it over to you, and I'm going to go close the door.
Well, thanks everybody for having me. Appreciate the time and appreciate being able to join everybody for my Vistage overview here. So I'm just going to jump in and share my screen. I kind of just show everybody what you see when you get in there, what does everything do, and kind of just walk it through. So here we go. For the purposes of this, we're just going to jump right in. So everybody should see more or less the same page that we're all looking at right here. So this is what the first thing you're going to see when you log in to My Vistage. The main big thing we're putting right front and center here for you is obviously today's meeting. It's going to be tomorrow's meeting, or excuse me, tomorrow it'll be the next meeting, obviously. So this widget will always update with the next meeting information, if there's a speaker, what the topic is, who's hosting, where it can be found, and any other additional agenda information or Zoom information like that. So that's pretty straightforward. You know, that's something you can just click into. That's also where you can either just create your check-in or RSVP and take any actions like that. One of the main things you'll also just notice right here, we've added this more recently, but it's just kind of a banner we put there to make you aware of different activity. In this instance, it's specifically for the meeting survey. Those are always going to be available on My Vistage. They're available up to 30 days after the meeting date. So we put that little banner here right now. You'll get the email for the survey as well, but it is something that you can always take here. You can always reach out to me as well if you need any assistance with either getting into My Vistage or making sure that you get those emails. The front page here is also what you'll just see in terms of just some other content too. So for example, you'll see trending discussions here, which is deriving from the networks, which is something I'll get to in just a little bit. It'll also include different member resources for you. For example, the first thing you'll see here is the CEO Pulse, our hiring resource center. So we do organize some of the different content there for you. But diving in here, what the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into the group. That either starts from here, right where that drop down is. We also put a nice little yellow button here, so we make it pretty easy for you to get in there. And again, one of the first things you'll see here on the group page is, again, another reminder to do the meeting feedback. That's important for our speakers, for Bob. We use a lot of evaluations and obviously are pretty feedback heavy. So that's something we always encourage you to do, and we make it pretty easy for you. And again, it's just something that we capture for you. The other thing that you can do directly just from your group page, pretty self-explanatory, but just emailing the entire group. You can email the entire group just from hitting this button here. And beyond just emailing everyone, we also include in the roster here in the group too. So you'll be able to see everyone in the group. We will be able to see all their contact information, phone number, email address. So if you're ever looking for information on everybody in the group, you can always find that here on your group page. It's something you can print out as a PDF if you really want it. So photos is pretty straightforward. Obviously got the nice cover photo from here from Bob. You know, sometimes people also add group photos. The meetings tab is where you're going to be able to go to see all your meetings from the group. This will include today, but it will also include all the ones in the past. And the neat thing about that is if, for example, a speaker had some materials you really liked or wish you would have saved or something, any speakers that you've had previously, and if they have any materials available, you're going to be able to find that information here. So example, if you wanted to go back to Matt and his presentation from November, you'd be able to go back and look at the speaker material there.
Through storytelling. Persuading through story.
Did you have any questions on the group page, Bob? I didn't want to miss anything.
No,
there.
I'm sorry. I was commenting on the month you were showing, our next speaker in November. I was discussing briefly before you. I did.
Got it.
Which month.
So moving just left to right here, on from groups to networks, the networks is my personal favorite thing that we have on the website. It's a way for you as a member to interact with other members you wouldn't, either for competitive reasons or perhaps they're in a different geography. We have well over 20 at this point. I think we have here 30. We divide them into some different ways. The first and foremost, we've got some of our traditional ones. These are a lot of our original networks. For example, the construction one, financial services, healthcare. These are all divided by industry and are a lot more industry specific in that way. We do have an awful lot of different industries and businesses reflected in Vistage membership. So we've really got a lot of different industry ones, and we even go on to affiliation ones. These include things like your nonprofit network, women in leadership, bit different than just being industry focused. Interest networks. The first one you'll see is the golf network. We have a lot of Vistage members that play golf. Sometimes people like to find other golf buddies if they're traveling, things like that. That's most frequently what you'll see the golf network used for example. But we do have a handful of different ones like those. I personally really like the travel network. It's kind of fun to check in and see what all our members are up to on that one. Moving on, we have geographic network. So we have one that's kind of specific to the West region. And so that's more obviously includes California, Hawaii, and things like that. So one of the things I want to do real quick, just to kind of give you an idea of what people talk about in these networks, I have already pulled up, for example, one of the recap posts for the West network. The recap post kind of collects all the posts over the last month, month and a half or whatever, and puts them all into a single post. It's also going to connect to different content, events, that sort of thing. But as you'll see as I scroll down here, the really cool thing about the recap post is it's going to give you a taste of anything and everything that people are posting in the network. And you'll see that it can kind of really vary. It's all across the board. This is a regional one. So like I said, it's whatever people are posting to it, so it can really vary. But here's just an example of what you can kind of see in the WestNet one. The other one I kind of pulled up here too was our technology network. So I just wanted to, again, kind of pull this one up and just let you see just the variety of topics people are talking about. And again, it really runs a wide variety of topics. It's not necessarily really strictly related to technology. You'll see people talking about pricing, marketing, that sort of thing. So again, it really kind of varies, but it is definitely something I would encourage you to check out or participate in. That's something I'm always happy to help people with too. Like I said, it'll connect to different events and or resources. So you'll just see those listed here as well. The first one, of course, is connecting back to our Last in the Peak Performer series with Ingenuity, the Leadership and Times of Crisis webinar. So the recap posts are great. I think they're a great way for me to show you just some of the different things that people are talking about and everything like that. And one of the things you'll notice too, if you go into these networks, so for example, let's just go into the technology network here. This is just the regular way you go into it. It's not a recap post, so it's just a straight feed. You'll see everybody's post. But the reason I wanted to pull this up for us right now is, in addition to the network feed, upcoming network comments, networks and events, all that stuff, you'll also see that, if you post something here, if you'll see on the right, it's going to reach 2,600 Vistage members. So that's a really good reach if you have a question. So I would really encourage you, if you want to try this out, I'm happy to help. Again, this is my favorite part of the website. So if you have questions about the network, I will send a follow-up, and please reach out to me. Happy to help with any questions you might have about the networks or anything. Moving on to, well, I'm sorry, let me stop there. That's a good point. Since it's my favorite thing, I should probably see if anybody wants to ask any questions about it. Does anybody have any questions about the networks? Okay. Moving on to our people tab here. The easiest way I can describe this to you is as a Vistage white pages for members. it's only as strong as the biographies, profiles, etc. of members. So if you would like to be found by other Vistage members, it is in your best interest to really flesh out your profile as much as possible. It is largely keyword driven. It will pull some data from what you entered when you signed up, just in terms of industry or location. So if, for example, you can do a lot of things with the people search. This is really interesting to some of our members. It's not very interesting to some of our members too. So again, this might not be of interest to you, but let's say if you were interested in finding other Vistage members who have a car wash business. This is a recent search I helped a member with. He wanted to see what other Vistage members out there that are running car washes. We've got quite a few. So he got in touch with those folks, kind of looking at this, and that was something he was personally interested in doing. So whether you're interested in a specific kind of business, specific kind of member, you can search for them here. You can message them through the website. So if that's something that's of interest to you, we have it here in the people directory. And if you've noticed, when I originally went in here, it also allows you to filter by geography, industry, role. So you're able to look for a lot of different people. And again, it's basically a white pages for Vistage membership. Moving on to our calendar here, while this will work for you as your own calendar, including all your dates and meetings and that thing like this, the primary resource we use the calendar for is for all of our upcoming events, webinars, things like that. It's also where we archive and put together all of our past events. So really straightforward here. My favorite events that we have are the National CEO Conference. I don't know if anybody's caught any of those yet, but for example, if we look at the next one, we've got the Women in Leadership coming up here June 24th. If you go into the ones upcoming, it's going to give you the whole event information. It's going to give you all the marketing information. It's going to let you register. So a lot of information there about the keynote speakers, and they really do an awesome job putting all this together now. So you can find all that here. The great thing I really love about the way they've been handling a lot of these events now is the way they archive them once we've actually had them. So that's a pretty cool thing here that you can, either check out yourself, share with your employees, that sort of thing. But if we're just looking back at, let's say, the last national conference CEO, just so I can show you this one. So it's they recap it, so they don't only just post the keynote stuff, but they kind of include a lot of information. So we've got the recaps from the day, got the opening video. You'll see we've got the keynotes archived and presented here. We've got the breakouts. So everything from the event, even just kind of a blog detailing the day of the event, is all archived for past events. So if you miss something, we do a really great job of kind of packaging that and putting that together for you if it's something you want to go and review after event. So did want to point that out. Again, where you can see all the information on events going forward, where you can register events. And then just in terms of ones we've already had, it's a great place to go to review the content. Or if we had any speakers that you really wanted to catch, you can always come and find that information here. Our last tab up here on my Vistage is the resources one. This is a great one because it encompasses all of our research and content that we put together from working with our members, the CEO Confidence Index, the Small Business CEO Survey. The Perspectives magazine is really awesome. I think it's really cool the way we highlight members and talk about different member issues in that magazine. If you've not seen that before, it's super neat. I really enjoy seeing what our members are up to, so I get a lot of enjoyment out of seeing that each time we come out with that. You may have seen that we even started doing podcasts. They're pretty neat. I'm surprised how really well polished these came out, and it's been really neat to hear some of those member stories. But the main thing is we're jumping right into research and insights for the bulk of just kind of sorting through all the different content we have, searching through everything we have. You can do a lot of keyword-driven searches, but as you'll notice here, just by up at the top here, we do categorize and really sort things. sort everything that we have in here. So you'll see the Hiring Resource Center. We've also got the Inflation Resource Center on here. So it's really quite an awful lot of information that we've put together. So like with the networks, you know, if there's anything I can ever assist with, if you're wondering if, hey, Mark, do you think that you have any content or webinars or anything on, you know, a hiring situation or whatever it might be topic wise, I'm always happy to help people search through different content that we have, or just help see if we've got something that interests you. ITR economics one you'll see right here, that's always really popular. We always catalog those. So we've always got some pretty current ITR information for you in addition to just all these other resources we have here. So I know I jumped through that pretty quick. Does anybody have any questions on the resources or research center information that we have?
No, I'm pretty well laid out. I didn't realize that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I didn't realize that you could access past events. So that's great for me to know. There's been times that I've missed an event and just assumed I missed it. So that's nice to know I can go back at a later date.
Yeah, you know, I'm joking kind of, but I'm half serious. They even put Spotify playlists for music they played at the events on those event pages half the time. So that they're very serious about those. So I'm happy to hear that we might have something there for you next time, if in case you missed something. So, you know, I think real quick, just in terms of just a housekeeping item for everyone in the room, if you need to look at your member statement, if you need to look at receipts, invoices for expense purposes, anything like that, the avatar icon up here in the right-hand corner is going to take you to your Vistage account where you can look at all that stuff. You can print invoices, you can change your billing information. So that's just a last kind of final housekeeping item for you. That's probably not a great way to end a My Vistage web tour, is with something as boring as looking at your profile, but I hope that was worthwhile to everybody. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to help. I'm always very available. I'm always happy to help you search for things through there. So this is really something I'm always in and always looking at. So I'm always happy to help people look for things in there.
Well, thank you, Mark.
That's great.
We appreciate it. And I'll get your video. I'll get this video sent out to the rest of the group.
Thanks very much for the time.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.